So we'll start. Good morning, everybody. See, in the last class, we discussed about the data collection method. What are the methods are there for collecting information or opinion from the respondent? So before collecting the data, we need to identify who are our respondent. We call it as a sample. Who are my respondent for research? So before collecting the data, we need to identify our respondent. So see, a respondent is nothing but are the those people who give a proper information which is required for our research. Uh, Such people we call it as a respondent, and a respondent are scattered in various places. We call it as a population. Population is a population is in big number. So here the duty for researcher is to select a part of population from the uh, part of population in order to conduct or in order to collect opinion. So as I said in the earlier class, so it is very difficult for researcher to collect opinion or to collect respondent a response from the uh, whole population. For example, if the population size or the number of respondent in population is more than lakhs, so it is very difficult to for a researcher to collect opinion or to distribute questionnaire for each unit or for each uh, population. So therefore, and it is also very costly and it is also very time consuming. So in order to avoid such difficulties, the researcher has to select a part of population, has to select a part of population for the purpose of gathering information. So such process we call it as sampling. See, the concept for study here, the concept for study is sampling design. The sampling design is a broader concept. It is like a research design. First, it comes research design. Under research design, we have to go through sampling design. Sampling design is nothing but we have to decide or we have to make plan for the selection of a sample or for the selection of techniques for the techniques of sampling unit or for the selection of sampling size. So all these aspects which is related to the sampling is called sampling design. So sampling design is nothing but is a plan for selection of sampling. Then what do you mean by sampling? Sampling is nothing but it is a process of selecting a part or subset, a part of population for the purpose of gathering information. So again, what do you mean by sampling? Sampling is a process of selection of a part of population, a group of a subgroup of population for the purpose of gathering information. It is called sampling. And then the result for the sample are then used to make estimate of the larger group. That means why we select sample? We select sample for the purpose of to avoid difficulties or uh, to save time, for the purpose of avoid difficulties in the distribution of question for the whole population, or to reduce or to save the time. And see, after selection of samples and we distribute the questionnaires or we collect the information from the sample, and the main purpose of sampling is to generalization. Generalization means you collect the opinion from the sample and you generalize it to whole population. That means, for example, your population size is 1 lakh and you select sample of 1000. Here you collect opinion from 1000 people or 1000 respondent, but while writing your interpretation or while writing your conclusion, you are saying that for whole population. You are not saying that this result is only what considered or only represent for 1000 people. It represent for whole population. You cannot say that, or it is not right to say like this result or this findings only represent for 1000 people. So generalization means, of course, you are collecting the opinions only from 100 or 1000, but you are generalizing it for whole population. So that is the main what purpose of sampling. We collected a small proportion of the population, but our result represent for whole population. See, why we collect as a, why we collect sampling? Sampling is a faster and cheaper than asking the entire population. So it is very fast and very or less costly instead of asking for entire population. And again here, while selecting samples, you have to consider two important points or two important key points. That is, first one is, while selecting, how to select right people. Right people means how to select it scientifically so that they are representative of the population. Right people means are those people who are correctly represent your population. For example, your research topic is online consumer behavior towards a particular product. Here, your respondent are online consumer. So you have to select your sample or your population should be online consumer. You cannot collect the opinion from the those respondent or those consumer who are not who were not purchased any products in online. So therefore, you have to select the right people. Right people you have to choose scientifically so that they're representative of the population. So for selecting such population, you have to follow some of the sampling techniques. Those sampling techniques we are going to discuss in future. See, next, second important point is selecting the right number of the right people. So here first thing is to select right people, and then how to select right number. Sample means it does not means selecting a number randomly. The sample size also should be in scientific way. For example, if the population size is 1 lakh, you cannot decide the sample size at randomly, like 100 is my sample size or 50. There is a some formula or there is a some proper techniques are there for selecting the size of the sample. By using those formula, you have to decide what should be my sampling size. So for the main purpose of deciding sampling size by scientific way is to avoid sampling error. Sampling error means it should correctly represent the whole population. The population is 1 lakh, but your sampling size is only 100. It is not correct proportion to the whole population. So your sampling size should be a correct proportion to your population. So that is the second important key point. And next thing, what are the steps involved in the selection of the sample or the steps in sampling process? The first step is defining the population, and second one is identify the sampling And third one is selecting a sampling techniques, or you have to decide the procedure for selecting sample. And fourth step is determine the sample size. And the last one, you have to draw the sample. So we'll discuss in briefly each steps. The first one is define the target population. So what do you mean by the defined target population? Means you have to explain the target population contains a member of the group that is a researcher is interested in studying. The result of the study are generalized to the population because they'll have significant traits in common. So here in defining the target population means who are your respondent. You have to explain who are your respondent and how these respondent are your samples. You have to write clearly, or you have to describe the nature of the population, or the extent of the population, or the size of the population, and where the number of population are the distribution of the population. The distribution of the population you have to explain. So that is called define the target population. For example, if my population is teacher, college teacher, then I have to explain what exactly the meaning of teacher, college teacher. What exactly, who is represent the meaning of college teacher. So there should be a proper definition given by the authority. You cannot write your own definition for the population. So for example, my population is college teacher. So I have to write definition given by the UGC. So as per UGC, who are teacher, who are college teacher. And I have to identify uh, who is, whether the teachers who are teaching in high school teacher are considered as college teacher, or the teaching faculty who is teaching in PU are considered as college teacher, or whether the teacher who are teaching in some other field other than the academic field are considered as college teacher. So I have to define who is exactly the college teacher. So that is called define the target population. And your target area also, you can define your target area. And second steps, you have to determine the sampling frame. Sampling frame, after deciding who is your population and what exactly the nature of the population, then you have to determine the sampling frame. Sampling frame means you have to collect the list of population. So there are, for some respondent, we cannot trace the list of population. A list means is nothing but the exact details of the population. For example, my respondent or my population is college teacher. So I have to collect the list. List means it may be the name of the college teachers, or their telephone numbers, or their address. So all this information, if it is possible, then you have to collect the details regarding the population. If it is possible only. See, some of the what population or some of the respondent, it is very difficult to collect sampling frame. It is not available, but some of the respondent or some of the population, we can collect the sampling frame. Sampling frame is nothing but obtaining a list of population. For example, here some of the examples are given. That is students who eat at McDonald's, or young people at random in the street, or phone book. See, phone book is one of the sampling frame. From using a phone book, we can trace out the sampling, or students union listing, or the admission list of the college. If my study is to know the what literacy, financial literacy level among students in the Mangalore University. So I can collect the students list from the office or from the administration department. I can collect all the students lists from the administration, so which consist of their names, their address, or their phone numbers. So second step, you have to collect the details regarding the population, which consist of their names and address, or whatever details which helps to collect the opinions from the respondent. But there are some problems which included in the list, such as the omission of the details of the some of the student. There may be a chance in list there may be omission. Omission means there may be what elimination of some names. So omission or ineligible candidate. The list may include such names which are ineligible for collecting the opinion, and there may be a chance of duplication. Duplication means repeated. Some student's name repeated twice, or some respondent name repeated twice or thrice in the list. So you have to consider all these factors while selecting the sampling frame. You can how we have to decide sampling frame. You can take one example. See, individuals who have spent 2 or more hours on the internet in the last week. So I want to know the students who spends 2 or more hours on the internet in the last week. What I can do, see, I can approach internet service provider, or in our college in Mangalore University, I can approach uh, the those personnel or those administration who administering the Wi-Fi network in our university. So they have all the list, list students who registered their IP in Wi-Fi. So they can give the list of the students who spent more than 2 or 3 hours on internet, and their web search also, or the search history also they can provide. So this is the way how we can collect the sampling frame. And after that, after collecting sampling frame, next step is selecting sampling design, or selecting sampling technique. It is not sampling design, it is called sampling technique. So third step is selecting a sampling technique. So sampling technique means what method you follow for selecting sample. There are two methods, or there are two sampling techniques are there. First one is probability sampling technique. And second one is non-probability sampling technique. See, probability sampling technique means, first one is probability sampling techniques, and the second one is non-probability sampling technique. Probability sampling technique is nothing but here each sampling unit get an equal chance of being included in the sample. Here each see, probability sampling technique is nothing but here every sample unit get a chance of being included in the sample. So that is called probability sampling. And non-probability sampling means here there is not equal chance of being, there is sometimes not chance of included in the sampling. So what exactly the probability sampling and non-probability sampling? Probability sampling means every unit in the population get an equal chance to be included in the sample. That means, for example, here if the population, if there is 1 lakh population, in probability sampling take every unit in the population, that means 1 lakh unit, 1 lakh respondent get an equal chance of being selected in the sample. But in the non-probability sampling, there is no chance of being included in the sample. I'll explain by giving an example. See, if my research is, again, I will give same example so you can relate it. See, my study is to know financial literacy level among college students in the Mangalore University. If here the population is college students in Mangalore University, I have to, the population is college student in the Mangalore University in every field, means every department. It may be a science or arts or commerce student. I have to select for my population include all the department. For example, 3,000 students are considered, 3,000 students are there in Mangalore University. So my population size is 3,000. That means every 3,000 students should be get an equal chance to being selected in the sample. If I select samples only from commerce or management student, so that is called non-probability sampling, because in this selection technique, the students from science and students from humanity department not get a chance to being selected in the sample. You understood? See, if I select randomly from whole student or from whole population without considering any department or without considering any gender, so that is called probability sampling. In probability sampling, every students get chance. Every students get chance to being selected in the sample. But in non-probability sampling, there is no chance of being included in the sample. So again, in probability sampling, there are different methods are there. Different methods. One is simple random sampling techniques. Other one is systematic sampling techniques. And third one is stratified sampling techniques. And fourth one is cluster sampling techniques. In non-probability sampling technique also, there are some important types. We can call it as types or methods. So that is convenience sampling method and judgment sampling method and snowball sampling method and quota sampling method. We'll discuss it in brief. So third step is to select a sampling techniques, either probability sampling technique or non-probability sampling technique, depending upon the need for the study. And next one is fourth step is determine the sample size. Determine the sample size. Sample size means, as I said, we cannot select or we cannot decide what should be the sample size in randomly. There should be a scientific way. There should be a scientific way to select sample size or to decide what should be the number of the respondent in samples. So there are many formulas are there. Many formulas are there to decide the sample size. One of the famous formula or one of the famous method to decide sampling size is Sloven's formula. So here I think it is visible. Sloven's formula, which is given in the 1960, which says n is equal to, that n means small letter n means the sample size, n is equal to capital letter N divided by 1 plus NE square. It is square, NE square. So that means, say again, here n, small letter n means the sample size and capital letter N means the population size, and 1 is the constant number. Again, and capital letter N is the population size. E means the margin of error. Margin of error means you have there should be in the selection of the sample, we should keep the error at a minimum level. So normally we keep it as 0.05 or 5% margin of error or 1% of margin of error. For example, the population size is 1 lakh and I keep error 0.05 or 5%. Then what should be the population size. I can use this formula. I can use this formula like n capital small letter n is equal to capital letter n means population size. Here the population size is 1 lakh. Sorry, I don't know whether it is okay. The population size is 1 lakh divided by 1 plus again 1 lakh. You have to write 1 lakh and e into 0.05 whole square. So likewise you have to find out what is the sample size. If it is your population is 2 lakh, then you have to write here 2 lakh and here also 2 lakh, then into 0.05 whole square. Use this formula, you can find out what is the exact population or sample size. So first step, you have to define the target population. Second, you have to first one, define target population. Second one, determine the sampling frame or collecting the list. And third one is decide sampling technique. And fourth one, determine the sampling size by using any standard formula. This is not standard. So there are many standard formula there. You can use any formula, but it should be approved by some of the research. And last step, after deciding sampling size and sampling techniques, you can go for a selection of the sample. Last step is draw the sample from the population. So I selected, for example, I selected cluster sampling technique, one of the sampling technique, cluster sampling technique. Then my sampling size is 1000. I can draw 1000 sample by using cluster sampling technique. So all these steps we have to follow. All these steps we have to follow while selecting sampling size. Next one. I think time is here getting. So for time's sake, I will stop here. Please rejoin again. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Two types. One is probability sampling techniques. Other one is non-probability sampling techniques. So in probability sampling scheme or technique is one in which every unit in the population has a chance of being selected in the sample, and this probability can be accurately determined. And non-probability sampling technique means there is not an equal chance, or sometimes some unit don't get any chance, zero chance. But here more than zero probability of getting chance in the selection of sample unit. See, in probability sampling technique, there are different method or different types are included. First one is simple random sampling technique or systematic sampling technique. And the third one, stratified random sampling technique and cluster sampling and multi-stage. All these are probability sampling technique. Probability sampling technique means every unit in the population get equal chance. And the first one is simple random sampling technique. Simple random sampling technique. So simple random sampling techniques is applicable when population is small and homogeneous. Homogeneous means the character, the nature of the population is same, homogeneous, and it is readily available. And all subsets of the frame are given an equal probability. Each element of the frame thus has an equal probability of selection. It provides for greatest number of possible samples. So I'll explain it in simple way. Simple random technique means your, for example, I want to conduct or I want to select samples from the students. So there are 100 students are there. How I want only 50 students. Total 100 students are there, but I want only 50 students for my sample. My sample size is 50, so I want 50. How I am going to select the 50, those 50 students out of 100 students. So in simple random technique, either I use a table of random number or lottery system. So before that, I have to attach or I have to assign some numbers to all 100 students. For example, I can give roll number or I can give register number. First, assigning some number for each unit in the population. So I can give register number for 100 students. So after that, I can use some random number. There is a table is there, a random number table. I can use random number table or else or I can use lottery system. See, in lottery system, I pick some cheat. I can write the register number of the each students, and I can pick lot. I can pick cheat. So whoever comes in the cheat are considered as sample. So out of 100 students, I prepare cheat. I write their register number in each cheat. Then I put it in put it in box, and I want only 50. So I can pick 50 cheat from the total 100 respondent. So whoever comes in selection are considered as a sample. So this is considered as simple random sampling. Here, see, here you can observe that how it considered as a probability sampling. Here 100 units, 100 students are get an equal chance of being selected in the sample. That means every unit are getting chance to being selected in the sample. And next one is systematic sampling technique, which is the name itself explains it is more systematic way. Here you take same example. There are 100 students are there. I can assign certain numbers, and I can arrange such students in certain numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the first step is you have to pick one number at randomly. For example, 1 to 100 there are students are there. I can first choose 10th student, the student who carry register number of 10. After that, I have to pick at a equal interval. That is, see here explain how you should select that interval. That interval should be decided based on the population size divided by the sample size. For example, population size is 100 and sample size I want sample size is 50. So that means I'll reduce sample size. I want to sample size is 25. So population size 100 divided by 25. So I get 4. So that means your interval should be the 4. The first I pick a number like, for example, 4. If I select 4, then next the sample in it is a register number of 8, and next one is 12, and next one is 16. Likewise, and next one is 20. So equal interval. The first job is here. You have to select the starting point at randomly. The starting point should be selected at randomly. After that, it goes systematic way at equal interval. So that is called systematic sampling. And next one is a stratified sampling. See, stratified sampling means when the population size is very large and which involves huge number of categories, and I want a minimum number of units included from each category. When the population is very large and which include a variety of categories, but I need a minimum number, at least one unit from each category. So at that time, I have to go for stratified sampling. If I go for a systematic sampling or simple random sampling, so there may be a chance of elimination of some unit from some categories. For example, in my research is college teachers. So there are a small portion of numbers from principal post. the category is like principal or professor, assistant professor, guest faculty, or lecturer. So all these are the categories. All these are considered categories. So in stratified sampling, the population is college teacher. I categorize into based on their designation: principal, professor, assistant professor, associate professor, and lecturer, and guest faculties. So I want each category. I want each categories. So first thing, I have to categorize on the basis of designation or any base. So we have to divide the whole population into some group. We call it as a strata. Here we call it as a strata or group. So based on some criteria, you divide the whole population into subpopulation. Then you select uh, a sample unit from each group or from each categories at randomly. So that is called stratified sampling. The example for it, first I divide the college teacher into their designation like professor, and then among professor I have to select it randomly, and among assistant professor I have to select randomly, or I have to among guest faculty I have to select randomly. So this is called stratified sampling techniques. First you have to divide, then select samples. And next one is cluster sampling, which is similar to previous one. Cluster sampling is example of two-stage sampling. So in the first stage of samples, you have to choose area, and second stage, you have to select the samples on the basis of random. So in the last example, in the stratified sampling, you're dividing based on a different base. Either it may be gender or designation or the or income level or any base. Here you're dividing the whole population based on the geographical contiguity or geographical area. For example, I want my population is the whole India, or my study area is India, and the online consumers, for example, my study is online consumer behavior in India. So at that time, my population is the respondent from entire India. But the nature of the population, North Indian, and the nature of the population in South Indian is different. So therefore, I have to divide entire population into and in any form, like North India, South India, West, and East. So on the basis of geographical area, I have to divide. Then I have to select samples from each group or each cluster. Each group is called as a cluster here. So from each cluster, I have to select sample. From North India, I have to select some samples. From South India, I have to select some samples. From West and some East. So that is called cluster sampling. And next one is multi-stage sampling technique. Multi-stage means here the sampling is, or selection of sampling is gone in multi-level or more than 2 or more levels. So for example, in the first stage, I select random number of district, and second stage, I select a taluk, and next stage, I select a number of houses or village. And last, ultimately, I select the sample. First, I select state. Among states in the India, I select, for example, I select Karnataka and Telangana. So in Karnataka and Telangana, I have to again identify the taluks I need. So in taluk, taluk or district I need, and then after selecting taluk or district, I have to select villages. After selecting villages, the house. So likewise, it goes in different levels. So that is called multi-stage sampling. And next one is non-probability sampling techniques. As I said, non-probability sampling techniques here, each element do not get or no chance of selection. There is no equal chance. The probability of selecting in the sample is not equal. As I see, in non-probability sampling technique, there are different methods are there. The first one is quota sampling. Quota sampling means you're fixing some quota, or you're fixing some percentage for selection. It is like a reservation system. It is like a reservation system. For example, there is 10 vacancies are there for particular job, but what government do, they will keep some reservation, like one post should be the woman, and two posts should be the ST or ST, or three posts for OBC, or a remaining post for general merit. Likewise, so that is called quota sampling. Here also in quota sampling, out of a whole population, you are fixing some percentage, like 50% should be male and 50% should be female. You are keeping some percentage, or 10% from below income level, 30% middle income, and remaining above income level. So if you are keeping, if you are fixing some percentage for selection of the samples, or if you are keeping some reservation, then it is called quota sampling. And this type of what selection is always biased. See, for example, interviewer might be tempted to interview those who look most helpful. In the selection of quota sampling, he may select those sample who are looks more helpful. So at that time, the opinion given by such respondent may be biased, or the selection of such technique is not scientific. And next one is convenience sampling. Convenience is nothing but it is a very easy technique, sometimes known as a grab or opportunity sampling. You are selecting a sample based on your convenient, or who is your nearest. Who is your nearest? You are considered as a sample. For example, your sample size is students from Mangalore University, but you are distributing questionnaire only to HRD student or MCOM student because they are convenient. They are nearest to your place. So convenient means you are distributing those, you are selecting sample, or you are distributing the questionnaire or collecting the information from those respondents who are nearest to your place, or which is easy to collect data. So that is called convenience sampling. And next one is judgmental sampling or purposive sampling. This type of sampling technique, we cannot say it is it as a what non-scientific technique. Sometimes a research need, the study requires judgmental sampling or purposive sampling technique. Here researchers select the sample based on who they think would be appropriate for the study. This is used primarily when there is a limited number of people that have expertise in the area of being researched. For example, I want to study the impact of coronavirus on Indian stock market investor. So at that time, my respondent should be the person who invested in stock market at the time of pandemic era. So I cannot distribute the questionnaire to all investor, because I want to know, particularly I want to know what is their investment behavior during the pandemic era, how they choose investment pattern, or what is their expectation, expected return. So all this aspect I have to cover. So for this purpose, I have to choose those investor who invested on those pandemic era. So this is called judgmental sampling. So only those respondent are considered as sample. So here researcher has option to choose sample. Next one is, last one is snowball sampling technique. See, snowball sampling technique or is a non-probability sampling technique where existing study subject recruits a future subject from the among their acquaintance. here what happens, sometime what happens, we don't know who are my respondent. It is very difficult, particularly, see here one example is given. I want to know the habit or the psychological behavior of drug user or drug addicts. So at that time, it is very difficult to trace the samples or the people who are addicted to the drug, because nobody is ready to reveal that they are addicted to the drug. So at that time, first we need to identify any one drug addicts. So after that, from him, we have to collect the information of the other drug addicts. The first thing is we have to select some of the drug addicts by any way first, and after that we have to collect the opinion from such drug addicts, and we have to collect the information of the other drug addicts. So likewise it goes like a snowball. So it in the as and when the level goes, the sampling, the size of the samples will increases. The sampling technique is often used in the hidden population, such as drug workers or sex workers, which are difficult for research to access. As sample members are not selected from a sampling frame, snowball sample are subject to numerous biases. For example, people who have many friends are more likely to be recruited into the samples. Here, the first level of sampling units select the other level of sample. So as and when the level goes, the size of the samples increases. So therefore, it is called as snowball sampling techniques. So all these are the sampling techniques used in sampling design. So here I wind up. In the next class, we'll discuss the next concept. So we'll take attendance.